Hello, everyone, and welcome to the program where anything is up for discussion with me, Jeff, alongside, as always, the lovely Shannon.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Shannon. How we
Hello,
doing?
Jeff.
How we doing?
Hanging in there. How about you?
I'm fired up. I'm coming right out of the gate with it tonight, kid. I am fired up.
Why is that, Jeffrey?
Well, we'll get into all that in just a minute. I want to see how you are. Ladies first, of course.
Same old me.
Same old you?
I'm here.
You're here?
Still here. Every day. Getting a little older. Every day.
Yeah, indeed. We want to thank everybody for joining us here, not only watching us on the mothership, PararockTV.com, from your handheld mobile devices, your iPhones, your tablets, your smartphones, and your Android handheld mobile devices, but also on the big screens, Shannon, on LATV in LA, which, of course, as JT knows now, and you will find out soon, is the Leominster area.
Yep.
Indeed.
Indeed.
We have a very, very busy and fun-packed show for you guys tonight, and Shannon, I'm fired up. I'm pissed off. I think the world is going to hell.
The world's been going to hell since the cavemen
I know,
were alive.
it is so cliche, and it's been said a lot, and people have come out with it. But I think after this show, I think people should really be concerned. There are things happening in our daily life, right around us, right in our own community, right now, that should have people with their jaws on the floor. Can't say much more than that, Shannon. I mean, what's going on in our society today, people should be ashamed of. I don't know how it can happen. I could not believe in my lifetime that we have gone to such depths of despair when it comes to basic fundamental needs of others, and basic caring is what it comes down to. It's just basic caring of your fellow man, your fellow neighbor, your fellow human being. And we're going to get into all that here in just a little bit.
Well,
Shannon,
you're fired up because we just watched 12 Years a Slave 2 days ago, and 1 day ago we watched Mandela. So there's no coincidence that we've had a lot of social media and movies and television in front of our face about the same subject.
Well, it's that, and it's also what's going on in the daily news as well. It's everything. And it's something that when it hits home, when you see it happening in your own community to people that you know, people that you care about, how else could you be but fired up? I really think this is important. I think people should pay attention to it. If you guys do want to chime in tonight, we are going to put the call-in line up there, and which is 213-784-0884. That is the Pararock mail. You can call in live on that number during the show. You can also leave us your profound statements, your impressions, anything that you want to do throughout the week, Shannon.
And people do call.
They do call.
In fact, we've gotten so many interesting phone calls in the past that sometimes you may actually land your own segment here on Up for Discussion with your phone calls. We won't mention any names.
We are.
JT.
We're really glad to be back here in the studio and in front of you. And as always, if you do miss the show, you can catch us on YouTube. We do have our own YouTube channel. It's PTV Webcast Network. Usually do throw it up there also on our Facebook pages, which we ask you to follow us here on Facebook, and also on our live site here, Up for Discussion Live. You guys can chime in, which is really cool because this is not only just a show where we talk to you and give you information. This is also a program where you interact with us. We want to share information, and we want to hear from you. This is what it's all about, and being able to interact with not only us here in the studio, but everybody else listening from around the globe. I think it's pretty damn cool. That way we can all come together as one and maybe get a damn message out to those who should be listening here.
How many countries, Jeff, are we at?
At this point, we are in 83 countries, Shannon, at last counted. 83 countries and counting. And not for nothing, we are coming up very shortly here on 5 years doing the program.
Is that it? Because it feels like an eternity. I mean, we started off doing 2 shows a week, and we're down to 1, but it feels like an eternity. Yeah, amazing anniversary.
Yeah. No, it's actually June 16th is our anniversary. That's when we did our very first show 5 years ago.
May is when we set up Pararock. Yeah, it's a whole other anniversary, but you're right, it's June.
Well, we were actually smart. We trademarked stuff before we actually went out and did it. Imagine that.
We did trademark it. Thank God. Somebody came up with the rumor that we stole the name from somebody, but it's like, no.
Of course we did.
You can't steal Pararock TV from somebody. It's not that easy.
No. Well, this is the interactive talk show where we want you guys to be involved, not only with the discussion, but I think we're going to throw a little contest at the listeners here later on, Shannon.
I would love to.
Ideas.
And I think from what we discussed, it's probably one of the best ones yet. We have a really good prize to give away, guys.
Oh, yeah, really good. And who doesn't like to eat? I mean, seriously. So
I like to eat many times a day, every day.
Yeah, and we do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Have you seen us?
It's not that bad. I mean, I can't believe that you own a bakery and we actually have lost weight, which to me is amazing. I think it's just got to be constant stress.
No, it's the perfect scenario because when you see all that stuff being made all day and just looking at it all day, it's you don't want it all day. So it's the best diet in the world. You don't. You just get tired of looking at it.
All right.
Must be like a gynecologist's job. Sorry,
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like one for JT. We're gonna leave that. We're gonna see what JT may think about that in the future. But Shannon, it's a sad state of affairs, and you always hear me go off about sports. You always hear me go off about the responsibility that these athletes, these high-paid athletes, have to their community. To behave in such a way that I think should be responsible and in a way that children can look up to them as role models. And certainly I think that not only goes for those who play sports, but those who own sports teams. And this example here, Donald Sterling from the LA Clippers, is under huge fire and has actually been banned for life. Thank God. Because I was really beginning to lose a lot of faith until they took very quick action, which we can talk about in a little bit. But this was an absolute disgrace. Mm-hmm. It was an absolute black eye on the NBA, and no pun intended there.
Black guy?
No, certainly no pun intended. It was certainly a very awful situation.
Yeah.
And going back a few years ago, Marge Schott, the owner of the Reds, was also banned from baseball for life for making similar comments. But we're going to play a little clip here, and this is the actual this is the actual thing that everybody is upset about. So take a look, take a listen.
Grab your popcorn and beer, guys.
Oh yeah, it's worth it because I try to cut it short. It's actually about 9 minutes long. I cut it down to a little over 5 minutes, which sounds like an eternity. But believe me, you won't want to stop listening. Here it is.
Honey, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too.
I wish I can change the color of my skin.
That isn't the issue. You missed the issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is we don't have to broadcast it.
I'm not broadcasting anything. I don't do anything wrong.
Nobody said you did anything wrong.
I don't do anything wrong. If we ever have any issues, it's because people call you and tell you things about me that are not true.
Why are you broadcasting?
I'm not broadcasting
Why are you
anything.
Taking pictures with minorities. Why?
What's wrong with minorities? What's wrong with black people?
Nothing.
What's wrong with these
It's like
families?
talking to an enemy. There's nothing wrong with minorities. They're fabulous. Fabulous. Because you're an enemy to me.
Why?
Because you don't understand.
I don't understand what.
Nothing.
That racism still is alive?
No, but there's a culture.
What culture?
People steal certain things. Hispanics steal certain things towards blacks. Blacks steal certain things towards other groups. It's been that way historically, and it will always be that way.
But it's not that way in my heart and in my mind.
But maybe you want to adjust to the world.
But why? If the world doesn't do anything for me and they don't make me happy.
You're right. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to argue.
I can't be racist in my heart.
And that's good. I'm living in a culture, and I have to live within the culture. So that's the way it is. That's how I got it. I got the whole message. You live with your heart.
I don't.
You can't be flexible. You can.
I am flexible. I understand that that's the way you were raised and that's your culture, and I'm respectful and respectful.
Why do you have to disrespect them? Those are.
Who am I disrespecting?
The world before you.
Why am I disrespecting them?
By walking, you're perceived as either a Latina or a white girl. Why should you be walking publicly with black people? Why? Is there a benefit to you?
Is it a benefit to me? Does it matter if they're white or blue or yellow?
I guess that you don't know that. Maybe you're stupid. Maybe you don't know what people think of you. It does matter, yeah. It matters.
Do you know that I'm mixed?
No, I don't know.
You know that I'm mixed.
You told me you were going to remove those. You said, yes, I understand you. I mean, you change from day to day. Wow. So painful. Wow.
People call you and tell you that I have black people on my Instagram, and it bothers you.
Yeah, it bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. Do you have to?
You associate with black people.
I'm not you and you're not me. You're supposed to be a delicate white or a delicate Latina girl.
I'm a mixed girl.
Okay. Well, but we
And
don't...
you're in love with me. And I'm black and Mexican, whether you like it or not,
Okay.
whether the world accepts it or not. And you're asking me to remove something that's part of me and in my bloodstream because the world thinks different of me and you're afraid of what they're going to think because of your upbringing. You want me to have hate towards black people?
I don't want you to hate. That's what people do. They turn things around. I want you to love them privately. In your whole life, every day you could be with them. Every single day of your life.
But not in public?
But why publicize it on the Instagram and why bring it to my games?
Why bring the black people to the game?
I really don't want to discuss it anymore. It's over. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
I feel that way so strongly, and it may cause our relationship to just break apart. And if it does, it does. It's better to break apart now than to break apart later.
I'm sorry that you still have people around you that are full of racism and hate in their hearts. I'm sorry that you're still racist in your heart. I'm sorry that you live in a world that's still...
How about your whole life? Every day, you could do whatever you want. You could sleep with them, you could bring them in, you could do whatever you want. The little I ask you is not to promote it on that and not to bring them to my games.
I don't bring anyone to the game.
Okay, then. There's nothing to argue about.
I know.
Okay, we got a big problem here. I really don't feel like going anywhere. I don't feel like going to Europe. I don't feel like just going to the whole thing. We got a big
Wow.
So if you and I had a fight, we'd be like, yeah, we're so not going out for pizza now. And he's just like, I don't feel like going to Europe now.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
I'm so pissed. I don't feel like going to Europe anymore. And we're not. We're just not going to go to Europe. That's all there is to it.
What a douchebag.
The first reaction I have is I just can't believe that there are still people like this in the world. I mean, how short-minded, how much of an ass can you possibly be, Shannon?
Why are you owning a team that is the majority of the ball players are black?
Yeah.
If it bothers you that much, maybe you're in the wrong profession.
You've picked a sport that
I
has a high percentage of black athletes.
And they fill his wallets, Jeff.
And you have it in a city which is has a let's say a fair population of black people. How can you possibly be that two-faced and that racist? And that's really only the first layer. And my first reaction is it's an absolute embarrassment to the league. It's an embarrassment to pro sports in general to have an owner, like this in any American sport. To me, it's an abomination, and I'm very, very happy and pleased to see that the league is in the middle of taking action. They've banned him for life. They've given him a pretty heavy fine. There needs to be some follow through here, but there's no reason for it. And as LeBron James put it today, Donald Sterling has absolutely no place in the NBA anymore, and that certainly goes without saying. Now, what the other dimension of this, if you will, Shannon, is the privacy issue. Now, there can be a strong case made
Yeah, that
they're
bothers
both
you.
assholes. Really,
Yeah, she's kinda
I'm-
setting him up.
You know, I'm hearing entrapment all the
Yeah.
way through this thing. She is running him. She is leading him right down the road. And maybe he had a couple of wobbly pops that day and didn't really, know what he was saying. It's happened to all of us. But my question is this, and I'd like to put this out to the chat room because I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this. Are we entitled, as a society and as a human being, are we entitled to a certain level of privacy? I mean, and does that cross it, Shannon?
That definitely crosses the line. I mean, that stuff's against the law here in Massachusetts. That was wrong for her to do, but I think obviously a lot more people think that it was good it was done. But I mean, look at the fines imposed on him, and he's done in the basketball world. But it's a huge invasion of privacy. And now, are all celebrities going to start airing cell phone recordings like this? I mean, look what happened to Alec Baldwin. I mean, why isn't everybody in an uproar about what happened with him and his message to his daughter on her voicemail from years ago?
And
Remember
Mel
that
Gibson,
whole big blowout?
Mel Gibson, you can take your pick. Everybody has a rant here. And
I mean, Alec Baldwin wasn't banned from the SAG union or anything like that, Screen Actors Guild, but it was a huge a blemish on his record. But this is racism. This is more serious than a guy just losing on his teenage daughter, calling her a spoiled bitch.
Yep.
But no, I think everything happened the way it should. The guy's got plenty of money. Nobody's going absolutely anywhere. And then, of course, now we have the issue of Sterling's wife, estranged wife Shelley, who, oddly enough, is in every picture with him when he's not in the picture with the girlfriend. So, yes, he is married,
Wait a
guys.
second. Slow down a second. And you have an open story about Donald Sterling and his girlfriend, but you still have a wife that's very much in the picture, shoulder to shoulder with him at basketball games.
Right. So the guy is a douchebag. He cheats on his wife. He's got the young girlfriend in the old bag sitting next to him.
And isn't she's got some crazy lawsuit going? I mean, this just getting crazier and crazier as we keep uncovering layers of this story. So the guy's a racist owner. He's got a girlfriend. The girlfriend has no problem throwing him under the bus, ruining his life.
Right.
And it's rumored to believe that she, I guess, is just there for sex. He
Oh,
pretty
come
much
on.
is
She's
exploited
just,
her.
oh, you mean, okay, for him, because that's not why she's there. Okay, forget it. I
Can
got
I-
that backwards.
Okay. What did you have something?
Well,
to
she's
say?
not using him for sex. He's
No,
using her.
no.
Sorry,
Okay.
for some
Did
odd
you
reason.
see the
I
guy's
thought,
picture? Let's just put up his picture.
Yeah,
here again real quick here.
you couldn't pay
that
me
is-
enough
That
to
is
sleep with
NBA
that.
owner Donald Sterling, and if I was to guess, who might be using who for sex in that picture, Shan?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get past
it's her.
any of that.
She's also, does this, I guess, in a small circle of friends, because I think at some point during that rant, he even kind of accepts the fact that she's sleeping with others in this circle of friends.
Oh, no.
and-
Why
and
would
bring
she
them
do
in.
that? Because clearly she can't even pose in a photograph for Instagram without him losing it. So if somebody was dating an old man for his money like that, you don't take the risk of sleeping with somebody else. There's no way.
Well, they had a very open relationship. There's no doubt about it.
Well, he did. He was married, and she knew it, but I don't know. We don't have any evidence of her cheating on him. I don't know. I don't care either, to be honest with you, but the estranged wife is now suing the girlfriend.
Suing the girlfriend.
It's getting ugly, guys, and there's way too much to read here, but it is getting so ugly. She's accusing the girlfriend of embezzlement. She's accusing the girlfriend of taking real estate from the man and taking extravagant gifts and money. And the girl is saying, first of all, they were gifts. You can't take them back. It's not against the law to accept gifts. But it is getting verbally ugly between the two. You need to Google this because there's documentation of the wife's lawsuit that was filed today. And then there's the response from the girl, and the response is out of control. There is downright name calling, including the fact that she just said in a public statement that Shelley Sterling has been known to philander with women. In that Donald Sterling is no stranger to cheating on his wife, and it's an open thing that she's been well aware of in their 50-year marriage. And all of a sudden now it's a problem. She wants a lawsuit. So, and the girl's basically saying, "Why haven't you sued the thousands of other women that have slept with your husband?" So
let me
a little.
ask you, as a woman, how do you stay with somebody like that? I mean, how do you have that kind of relationship? And I know asking you as your husband, it might be, I know the candid answer to that, but what is a woman's thought process when she abandons any self-respect and stays with somebody who's just so blatantly awful to her?
Well, we don't know if he's awful to her. We don't know that.
Well,
we
he's
just
sleeping with
know
somebody
he's awful towards black people.
No. He's cheating on his wife. Which last I checked, when you went to the altar and took those wedding vow things, that's kind of like one of those things.
Yeah, those things that we exchanged 10 years ago.
One of those
those things.
That's one of those important parts of the vows that I think should be taken a little bit seriously. So my question, Shannon, is how does a woman stay with somebody like that when she discovers it? And how do you have a 50-year relationship with ongoing affairs? What's a mindset of a woman like that?
It's called money.
Money.
It's very green. It can get very ugly, but if you
Really?
have enough of it, if you're a billionaire, you can probably have a few women and no one's going to complain. Wow. Some women are like that, Jeff. I mean, that's just it's money, and the chat's going crazy. It's about the money. Grayskull says the dude's loaded. Some ladies put up with it when he can buy her toys.
Okay.
I mean, duh.
Okay.
I mean, really, why wouldn't you want to have an 80-year-old boyfriend that needs medication to please you and has billions of dollars? What woman wouldn't want that?
Sign me
Most
up, right?
would.
Okay.
No, most really would.
Really?
It's just very simple. Why else would she be with that man? Because she really, really loves him? Jeff, we knew a couple like this. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
We knew the situation all too well.
Wow. All right.
Unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
And old
We'll
Hip,
go with
of
that.
course, comes back and says, yeah, he buys the toys with 3 speeds. Probably true. I don't know. Maybe. But it's a sad situation. It is so stupid for the estranged wife of Mr. Sterling to file a lawsuit against the girlfriend. Talk about bitter and sour grapes. Now you're going to all of a sudden sue. In fact, Jeff, I don't know if you knew this, but the girlfriend and the wife have both appeared with Donald at charitable events. Together.
Really?
This is no secret. The woman has known about her for a long time, and all of a sudden she's suing her. So talk about sour grapes.
Yeah, okay.
She's just very upset. She's just pissed off at the wife because she just ruined the guy's career. Now the wife's not going to gouge him for more money, which explains why he won't divorce her. Because you know that he's going to have to split his fortune with the bitch.
Right.
So the girlfriend is just basically saying, dude, like, back off. You have no case.
Wow.
It's not going to go anywhere. No judge is gonna rule on this this case and say, yeah, this is a valid lawsuit. It's ridiculous. The girl has not done anything illegal, including that recording is not illegal in California. So what are you going to do?
You know, I think stuff like that should be illegal. I think this should be. I think everybody should be entitled to a certain level of privacy, and I think you should be able to be in a place where you can have a discussion and not be afraid of it going viral on YouTube, even if somebody's pissed off at you. I mean, you know, I guess this is the age of TMZ, and nothing's off limits these days. That's for sure.
I don't know.
It scares me. I mean, there's absolutely no privacy anymore. I mean, we talk about it with social media and how people put it their every waking move on there, and how that might be a little bit unsafe at times, but geez, if you're not putting stuff up there, then somebody else is putting what you're doing up there. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide anymore. It's crazy.
I hear you. I hear you. You know, this will all blow over. Thank God. I'm so sick of hearing about this on the TV. But I think the penalties are fine. I think the fines were fine. I think the sentence was fine. Everything was fine. It has been swiftly dealt with. The guy is going to be dust in the wind shortly, and we're not going to be talking about this anymore.
And thank God it was swiftly dealt with. That definitely has gotten my attention, as well as DCF Commissioner Olga Rogue. House Speaker Robert DeLeo and Senate President Therese Murray called for the resignation of Olga Roach, and they got it. The Commissioner of the Department of Children and Families did actually resign after 2 additional children died while their cases were being managed by DCF in Massachusetts. A statement was released. I feel at this point there is a severe lack of proper management at DCF.
You think?
It has the Speaker of the House. I think that it is incumbent upon me to call upon Commissioner of the DCF to resign, and actually she did. Murray, a Plymouth Democrat, said the state is experiencing a serious crisis regarding the safety of our children. Recent tragedies highlight the need to address problems within the department, and the entire agency needs to be examined in combination not only with the resignation of Commissioner Roche. We need to make sure that we are bringing someone in to turn this agency around and provide the necessary resources to support their work. DCF has been under huge scrutiny since December, when 5-year-old Fitchburg boy Jeremiah Oliver was reported missing and subsequently found murdered. Oliver was under DCF supervision,
Disgusting.
and this weekend more information surfaced about 2 additional deaths. Aliana Levine, a 4-week-old from Grafton, died earlier this month.
A nice town, too.
Yeah, Grafton's a really nice town. She died earlier this month. The Grafton police had notified DCF about the danger and harm, possible harm to Levine, but nobody from the DCF checked the fax machine, and the fax sat for 6 days. Their statement, Shannon, was something to the effect of the person that was in charge of checking faxes was on vacation, therefore the fax sat there for 6 days.
Let's be more uncareful after the whole murder thing in December. Let's just be more uncareful, guys.
And where does it come to be where there's only one person in an entire state department that is qualified, if you will, to check faxes? That's absolutely disgusting. And Another
there's
death.
the one person that checks faxes goes on vacation. There's not an office there that gets a fax on a machine.
Right.
Come on.
That was their excuse.
Yep.
So the fax sat there for 6 days, and as a result, Aliana Levine is dead. Another young infant, 16-day-old infant, Bailey Irish, died this weekend, whose family was also under DCF.
You don't have pictures, do you, of the babies?
No.
Oh, they were just
no
beautiful.
cause of death has been announced in either case, nor have any criminal charges have been brought. I know everyone has a tough job. I greatly appreciate the work they do, and each and every day we have children dying because someone is not checking a fax or someone who is not writing the proper reports. That's a different situation. And that's really the key. Everybody has a tough job. Firemen have a tough job. Policemen have a tough job. Teachers have a tough job.
Where are the interns?
But when you have a tough job, you have to do your job.
Why can't they take on interns from the college in psychology majors? What is the problem here? Why can't they take on interns to do these jobs,
I don't know the
to
answer
back
to that.
them up?
I don't know why. They're grossly understaffed. But we're, even if you are understaffed, even if you're taxed to the out limits of reality, you got to do your job. You have to check the facts. You have to return the phone call. I mean, isn't that why you're there?
Well, that's why you're there. I was just going to say, I mean, if your job is to save lives, maybe you should just do your job, because people are dying while you guys are sticking your thumbs up your butts. Jerks.
No. It is.
It's unbelievable. I mean, to have 3 children die in a matter of months in the New England area, all within 10 miles, Jeff?
Yeah.
What the heck is going on here?
This is not only a problem here. This is a problem that's very widespread, and it's just getting focus here. And I think, folks, you will hear about this across the country very shortly, if you haven't already, because it's hitting major networks. These are agencies, Shannon, that are designed to protect children. Their only focus in life to go to work each day, bring home their paycheck, feed their families. Their only focus is to protect children.
Yep.
And here we are. Somebody can't check a fax. No.
It's just like what do I say? Just like Dunkin' Donuts. Can't make a coffee. You shouldn't be working there.
If that doesn't piss you off, if that doesn't make you want to be aware of what's going on in your hometown, I mean, nothing will. I mean, my God, this is like Leominster, to describe to our audience here that's outside of the area, is a very let's call it Middle America. It's a very nice city. It's not poverty stricken by any stretch. It's run very well. It has all of the major outlets as far as shopping and restaurants. It has a very good school system. And if this stuff can happen here,
Yep.
Shannon, it can happen anywhere
I
in the
know.
United States.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, right now, Gray Skull in the chat is saying Connecticut. DCF is so understaffed, it's crazy. The budget keeps getting cut. So it is happening in other places. It's a matter of time before this hits another state.
Well, it could be. It could be. Wow. Well, guys, when we come back, we're going to lighten things up a little bit. We're going to find out from JT if he thinks the world is going to hell. And, of course, who does that with that young lady there, Shannon Sylvia. Yes, indeed. And, yeah, we're going to step out. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Who do you want? Who are you gonna be today? Who is it really? Making up your mind. You got to listen to the man. Pay attention to the magistrate. And while he's got you in the mood, listen to your heart. Gonna catch you later. Dip, dip, dip. Bow, bow, bow. I'm alright. Don't nobody worry about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Why can't you just let me be? I'm alright. Don't nobody worry about me. Why you got to give me a fight? Why can't you just let me be? I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright. Yeah. I'm alright now. You gotta listen to the magistrate.
That, my friends, is Side Effect with frontman Ross McGinnis. And he's going to be actually be playing at Cornerstones this Friday, May 2nd. He's bringing the entire band. Al Bonassaro on bass, Rich Deeb on drums, and John Davis on guitar. If you guys haven't checked this group out yet, you guys owe it to yourself to come down to Cornerstones this Friday. Super, super talented musician, and you guys will have a great time. We're going to be there. We hope you guys will be there too. And Shannon, speaking of talented musicians, also coming at the end of May, the last Wednesday in May. We're very proud to have set this up. We're going to present our friend Ken Tucker, who actually has the closing score on this particular show. Blues extraordinaire Ken Tucker is coming to Classics Pub in Leominster, May 28th. We hope to see you guys there as well. Going to be a great, great, great time. And now, Shannon, we're going to go inside the male mind. We're going to find out
I'm scared.
what JT thinks.
Oh, boy.
Hello, Jeff and Shannon. This is JT from L.A. That's right, Shannon, the Leominster area. I'd like to tell you guys a story about Hurricane Gussie. There's this guy, he decides to visit his local house of ill repute. He walks in and sees the madam, and he says, I want something different. I'm sick of the same old thing. I want something different. So the madam says, then you must want Hurricane Gussie. The guy says, Hurricane Gussie? What's that? And the madam says, she's my best girl, but she's not cheap. It's going to cost you a lot of money. The guy says, all right, I'm willing to pay. So he pays the madam. She says to the guy, go up the steps, go down the hall, and hers is the last room on the right. So the guy goes up there, goes down the hall, opens the door, and there's this big, heavy-set woman laying naked on the bed. So the guy walks in, takes off all his clothes, jumps in bed. The next thing you know, the woman grabs him by the neck, throws him up against the wall, grabs a pail of water, throws it on him. Then she starts running around the room going, woo, woo. Then she grabs the guy by the neck again, throws him off the other wall, throws another pail of water on him. And the guy says, whoa, whoa, what's going on? And the woman says, Oz Hurricane Gussie. The guy says, you might be Hurricane Gussie, but if this weather keeps up, I ain't going to want to get laid. Who does that?
Oh, yeah, when you hear that music, it can only mean one thing. It's that segment of the program when Shannon Sylvie asks, who does that? And now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Shannon Sylvie.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Who Does That, the awesomest segment on the internet for 5 years now. And I have to say a quick little story about the what JT thinks segment. In last week's show, we were discussing how I don't want to meet JT. I just don't want to know what the guy looks like. I adore him and his segment, but I wanted to just hear that voice every week, and I wanted it to be a mystery. Well, he didn't watch it last week. And I was waiting on a customer at Shancakes and serving up some cannoli to him. He was talking about how famous the cannoli were. And he managed to throw in a who does that? And I just looked at him and I heard that voice and I was like, no way. There is JT standing in front of me. So now JT is a customer of mine. But JT, keep those segments coming. But I am suing your butt for the who doesn't copyright infringement there. That's my line. You can't do that to me.
See, I knew he was here right away. As soon as I heard him speak one word, I knew exactly.
I wasn't putting two and two together until he said that, and then it was like, bam, that's got to be JT. Not at all what I imagined him to look like. So, funny how that goes.
But we're not going to tell anybody what he looks like.
No.
We may know.
No, but he's just like one of those guys.
Pancakes, but we're going to keep the mystique for the rest of the
Just wasn't expecting that. It was funny. It was awesome. Priceless moments.
Right.
So, of course, if you're new to the show, I give you 3 segments. These stories don't sound true, but believe it or not, they are. That's why I will say who does that, because it's like, who in the world does that? And it's world famous, and people say it all the time on TV now because of me. So the first story, this one comes out of Memphis, Tennessee. We don't really do a whole lot of stories out of Tennessee, so this one's new for you. But basically, little Kevin was with his grandmother, Ruth Brown, on the way home from grocery shopping when he fell asleep in the back seat of her car. Brown told the News Channel 3 out there that her daughter's boyfriend was outside near the car while she was unloading some groceries from the vehicle. The grandmother went inside the house to find someone to carry Kevin in for her, and he's a little bit too heavy for her to lift now at these times. He needed some help lifting him out of the car while he was asleep. She says that no more than 5 minutes passed when Brown returned. The car was gone. Oh, my God. She says, I thought somebody had come in here and stole it, straight wired it because I had the key. She says, that's kind of strange. How did they do that? But the white Toyota Corolla was actually repossessed.
Oh,
oops. Sam Young, manager of Cooper & Son Auto Sales, where Kevin was found 30 minutes later, explained when they go in to get a repo, they have the keys. They got into the car. They drove off. That's all there is.
Wow.
The repo man had no idea Kevin was asleep in the back seat.
Oh, my.
Jericho Leverson, Kevin's mother, was understandably upset, saying, you should have checked the car. And when you saw the child in the car, come bring him to the door. Let him come in and let him know you're fixing to pull the car. I mean, that's just absolutely insane to me that this happened. Others are asking why the boy was ever left in the car in the first place. Ruth Brown defends her actions, though she admits that, like the repo man who took the car, somebody else could have taken it with Kevin in the back seat. That's true for almost 5 minutes, Jeff.
Yeah.
You do not turn your back on any child for any amount of time. That child could have woken up and escaped out of the car. Anything could have happened. The news station reports that authorities didn't seem to think Brown did anything wrong. Police have not said she'll face any charges, and officials at the Department of Child Services say they are not investigating and have not been contacting the people about the incident.
Who does that?
Wow.
Now, Jeff, you used to work in the business. Do you think that's normal for someone to jump in the front seat and skedaddle with the car as fast as possible without realizing there's a child in the back seat?
Yeah, when you're in the repo business, as I was, did many years there, your MO is to get the car off the property as soon as possible, and then you inspect it after, because I've been chased with baseball bats, I've been shot at, I've been, you wouldn't believe what's happened when people see their car being towed away. They tend to get a little pissed off, and you never know what's going to happen. So the procedure is get the car, remove it from the property, and then go through things when you either have it in a safe location or back at the salvage yard.
Wow. I mean, I guess
So I
that
can
was
see that
just a
happening.
coincidence. There happened to be a sleeping child in the back seat, but wow.
Well, they were probably under the DCF Massachusetts care at the time. So
Oh, boy.
yeah.
All right, second story of the night. A thief steals a pricey electric bike and then accidentally calls the owner for help on how to recharge it.
Cool friggin' bike, by the way.
Oh, my God. So, this one comes out of East London in England. Ben Jaconelli just recently opened.
Jake and Ellie, that sounds like a British guy.
Jaconelli. Not at all. It's actually a name I've never heard of before. He had just recently opened Fully Charged, an East London, England electric bike retailer.
Okay.
Mr. Jaconelli not only sells electric bike, he rides one as well. While out and about, he locked up his electric bike called the Go Cycle on Kingsland Road in London. And though he was only away from the bike for about 20 minutes, he returned to where he had left it. It was gone. He said that he was afraid he would never see his bike again, according to the newspaper. And after his thief unwittingly helped him, it was returned back to him. After pointing the theft to the police, Mr. Jaconelli received a phone call from a man who needed a charger for a Go Cycle. As Mr. Jaconelli told the newspaper, I'm the authorized dealer for it in the area, so when the thief calls me, unaware that it was my bike, he's asking for a charger for a Go Cycle. I knew straight away had to be the thief. I took down as many details as possible from him and then set about tracking him down.
Brilliant.
And track him down he did. Mr. Jaconelli and 3 of his friends arrived at the thief's house after doing some research online to find his location. As he told the newspaper, he was out, but his mother said he was in, and she got straight on the phone to her son to demand to know why he wanted an electric bike charger. A minute later, the kid called me and asked why I was at his house, and I said, "You stole my bike." He hung up, and 20 minutes later, the bike arrived fully charged. The bike arrived at the warehouse in a taxi. So the kid actually put the bike in the taxi and sent it to the location and brought it back.
Way. That's priceless.
The Go Cycle is a pricey piece of equipment made by Carbon Kinetics Limited. The model that the guy was riding is worth about 2,500 pounds, which is approximately $4,200 here in the U.S.
That's an expensive
Police
price.
are investigating the matter, and yet no arrests have been made.
Of course not.
Who does that?
So the kid shit his pants and then sent the bike back in a taxi.
That's like stealing a Cadillac from the Cadillac dealer. and then
God.
and then going back to get a part for it or something. That's shit luck.
Wow.
That's if you're a thief. That's
If the kid
that's
lives at
getting
home
short
with the
straw.
mother. We already knew that bike was going back. Yeah, the mom got mad at the kid.
Wow. I'm just not for nothing here, but I'm kind of asking where folks are from in the chat room. We want to say hi to, I believe it's Austria from Japan, listening all the way
Really?
from Japan. Listening
From
to us.
Japan? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
That is incredible. I don't think we've ever had anyone from Japan in
Well,
our
that-
chat room. We've
that,
had
that
them
might
from
be
all
one
over
of
the
those.
world.
That might be one of those 83
Thank
countries
you.
we're talking about.
Austria, if that is
Austria.
your real name. We do this show every Tuesday, and we are doing this live. Obviously, we see you in the chat room, so welcome to the show.
Awesome.
Very cool.
All right. What else we got? Kim?
All right, so the last story of the night, this one's absolutely horrific. I do have to throw in the sad ones from time to time. Again, it's just perfect for the who does that. But a driver of a school bus allegedly tells a boy suffering from a seizure to get off the bus.
Oh boy.
This comes right out of Florida. Florida appears often in the stories, and the school bus driver is under investigation after he failed to help a student experiencing a severe, life-threatening medical emergency. As reported with Channel 7 News out there, 16-year-old Andrew Shepard is now doing well after suffering a diabetic seizure recently aboard a school bus. Shepard was on the same bus as his sister, Jasmine Lucas, thank God, who noticed that her brother was not doing well. She said, he was on the bus in the back, and I turned around and saw him twitching. She said, Shepard suffers from diabetes and Addison's disease, which the news station notes can cause very low blood pressure and eventually lead to coma. After seeing her brother's condition, she appealed to the bus driver for help. I said, can you take me home, to my house because he's having a seizure? And he was like, no, you got to get off the bus. The sister recounts. Instead of getting a ride to their home, the hospital, or just assistance on alerting any emergency medical services, the bus driver stopped dropped the siblings off at their normal stop, and reportedly took off once they exited the bus. Oh my God, Florida guys. Good Samaritans in the area stopped to help the kids as Lucas was forced to carry her brother out of the bus and attempt to make the walk home. He then collapsed. She said, he fell on me, and then he fell on top of a mailbox and a couple houses down. So I called my mom, and I said, he's having low blood pressure, sugar, and she said she called 911. After she hung up, the children's mother was moved to tears thinking about her children's ordeal. He looked at my child and told him to get off the bus. How do you do that? I'm beyond furious. The paramedics eventually got there. His blood sugar was 30. A normal blood sugar is between 80 and 120.
Oh, my.
He could have died. He could have gone into a diabetic coma and died.
Wow.
She feels that the bus driver should have pulled over with the children and called for help. She said, he's a coward. He let my son get off this bus and left my son pretty much left for dead. If my daughter was not there, my son wouldn't be here today, the mother said. All he had to do was call 911. No one asked you to help him, put your hands on him or anything. Just call 911, and he did not.
Who does that?
The unbelievable. So obviously there is an investigation ongoing, and they're going to provide updates, Jeff.
Wow. You know, I was just starting to have a good time again, and now I'm all pissed off again. I really am.
I'm sorry. I had to continue the school bus conversation.
Well, it is kind of a segue into our topic that we are going to follow up on from last week. And that topic, ladies and gentlemen, is the medical transport industry. And if you were tuning in last week, we had a few callers come on and talk to us about some of the horror stories that they had experienced, not only just with, and this is important to realize, not only just with tardiness, which seemed to be the main focus at first, being late picked up for appointments, not making appointments, being driven all over hell's creation, so on and so forth. But stories of abuse, physical abuse on the ride, not only, between passengers, but also by drivers and emotional abuse. Hearing stories of 5-degree weather in the wintertime.
Yep.
And the drivers driving with the windows down and freezing out the passengers in the back. Now, those that aren't from New England may not understand this.
No, not entirely, no.
Well, because, they figure, big deal, 5 degrees, windows down. Yeah, the driver would have sat there and cranked the heat, which would have, kind of kept a little bubble of heat around him. The rest of the car, you probably would have felt that if you would have touched one of your appendages, they would fall off, because that's how cold it gets around here in the wintertime. It's absolutely miserable. Now, if you're sick, if you have a little sniffle or a cold, you don't want to be out in the cold. You already feel like that's enough.
No kidding.
But imagine having, a major disability and being frozen like that. Just awful, awful treatment. Now, we attempted to get in touch with the local MART here, the Montechusett Regional Transportation, and they were unavailable for comment. We are going to continue to try them because we would like to hear their response to these accusations. And we did have a couple of callers call in last week. We hope to have callers call in this week, not only from the Massachusetts area, but from all over the country. I'm going to put the call-in number up there and invite anybody to call in that would like to share their stories about medical transportation and maybe, some insight as to maybe what we can do about it. The number is 213-784-0884. In the meantime, Shannon, while we're looking for callers to call in and waiting for those folks to join us tonight, let's talk a little bit about a contest. We're gonna,
my God. Okay,
we are going to
guys,
bounce out.
awesome. If you are local here to the Leominster, Massachusetts area, you definitely have to take advantage of this. Jeff will tell you all about it.
Well, I'm going to have you tell them all about it, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to give away a $25 gift card to a local pub here, Bailey's Bar and Grill, who's been very, very good to us, one of our sponsors. And they're nice enough to put up a $25 gift card to their restaurant to be used at any time. And come May 1st, which I believe is right around the corner in the next couple days, Shannon, the outdoor patio is opening. So let's hope we don't have to bring our damn snowsuits
guys,
there.
I'm not just saying that. Wicked good food. I am stoked to go back.
Well, what are folks going to have to do this time? I mean, we've had them singing. That didn't really work out too well, but we've had.
Oh no,
them,
we had a singer.
We did.
What are you talking about?
That's
we
right.
had the
We did have a
contest. We
singer.
gave them the prizes away.
That's right.
Oh,
we
yeah,
did.
no.
We did have somebody ballsy enough.
The thing
to sing.
that we had the contest that didn't get a great response was what would be some great menu items for the new Jeffrey Dahmer
the
restaurant.
Jeffrey Dahmer thing. Maybe that
So
was
that
just,
was not the best contest.
maybe it
We
was
didn't have
just
any
in bad
entries, but
taste.
we had the
My
singers.
bad on that one.
This contest, guys, we're gonna have an interesting twist. To win the $25 Bailey's gift certificate out there in Townsend, Mass, all you have to do is go to the Facebook page for Pararock TV. Just go ahead and look at Pararock TV up on
I'm going to put it right
Facebook.
up there. We're gonna put it right up there. Facebook.com/PTV Rocks. And you do have to be one of our Facebook fans to be part of this contest. We're going to put the details there. We're not going to really announce too much here, Shannon, because we're going to do it all through the Facebook page.
And all you're going to do, guys, is take a photograph of yourself holding up a piece of paper. And we want one line describing why you watch Pararock TV. What do you like best about Up for Discussion on Pararock TV?
All right.
Why do you love the show? Just tell us why you love the show. We're going to be posting your entries on Facebook one by one. And the best answer wins, guys. We'll mail you, or you can pick it up, a gift certificate.
So best answer could include creativity. It could include lots of color. It could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is that you do to get our attention. But the most, I guess, eye-catching, photograph taken. I guess you'd call it a selfie, right, Shannon?
Make it clean, guys. We have to say that. I mean,
Sure.
we're gonna post these on the Facebook page.
We're going to call it the UF Disciple. Like that? UF Disciple selfie. How's that? What do you think about that for a play on words?
Clever.
Clever? All right. I believe we do have a caller. Caller, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right.
Hey.
I believe we have Michael from South Carolina. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with the medical transport industry?
Well, my medical transport is called Logisticare, and they are multi-state. They've got their fingers in many, many state pies.
Okay.
And my issue is I've actually been left at an appointment, after my appointment was done, for 6 hours.
So wait a minute. You were brought to an appointment and never picked up?
6 hours later.
Oh, my. Okay.
My God, why?
Well, and how far away, from home were you, and what kind of problems logistically did this cause you and your family?
Well, I was 45 minutes away because I'm 45 minutes from Columbia. That's where I needed to be.
Okay.
And so they dropped me off. I had a pickup time for 2 hours later because my appointment should have only lasted 2 hours. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And I called up. They have a phone call. Where's my ride? Kept on being told all these different stories. Finally, it turns out they were waiting around for another ride in Columbia to be picked up at the same time that I would be picked up. That they were just going to take us all together.
Oh, boy.
Now, my
Unbelievable.
problem is I have a minor daughter that gets off the bus. I have not got to the point where I trust her with a key to the house. And so she was left out, because I live in a very, very rural area. She was left out in the middle of nowhere for 2 hours, not able to get inside the house because I could not get my rides correct.
And how old was your child at the time?
11.
11. Okay, so here's the repercussions. I mean, not only does this stuff affect, your loved ones or yourself personally that relies on medical transportation to get to and from necessary appointments, but there's also this trickle down, as we're hearing now, how it can affect, others in your family. And this is potentially a safety issue. I mean, what did you make a complaint? Did you make a phone call? What happened from there?
I am still waiting for the CEO of the company to call me back.
Okay.
I have repeated the call. I call like once a month trying to get a hold of this fool. I get a hold of his secretary, and all I get is, yes, Mr. Johnson, we have your information. He has got your phone calls. I do not know why he has not chosen to call you back yet, but he has been getting your messages.
Okay, then let me ask you, is there some overseer of that agency in your local government that you might be able to contact and explain the situation?
No, they are a entity upon themselves. They are contracted. They get $3 million a year just to take phone calls and schedule rides.
Nice.
Wow.
But nobody is overseeing them. They're basically their own little Gestapo group.
Yep.
Now, here's the other thing. Transportation providers have sprung out of the woodwork now because it's a money-making scheme.
Okay.
Okay, they're paying them major money just to get people back and forth to their appointments. Now, last week, here's my issue. Last week, somebody brought about a free ride.
Right.
Well, my issue with that is this. If you have a bank account that you started when you were 18 years old and you worked for 25, 30 years putting money in that bank account, and all of a sudden you want to spend something, do you consider that free money?
No.
Nope.
And I will say that, and I will back you on that 100%. And first of all, the first point that you made, lends to question, because it is a very, very lucrative industry, because that direct billing either goes through a state-funded department or through Medicare. So when you're direct billing the government, there's a lot of money to be made. And these agencies that have, let's call it almost a monopoly, there definitely needs to be some policing there. But with only a couple minutes to wrap up, I did want to address what you just said, and it is very important, because those that are receiving benefits, and we do know a few of folks out there that do, it's tough to quantify that as a freebie, because those folks, and I know folks in particular, paid a ton of money into that system. And if you worked at a high-level job for most of your adult life and paid into Social Security, you paid a pretty penny. And that's not free money, folks. That's money that was put into the system by hardworking individuals. Now, there are individuals that could be argued for the fact of, and we talked about this a little bit off the air, drug addicts. And Shannon, believe it or not, drug addicts fall into the same category when it comes to medical transportation.
I believe that.
To and from appointments.
I believe that.
And, should it be that way? Should those folks be considered, disabled? Should that be something that is a disease? And quite frankly, there are two very strong sides to that. And those folks are riding right along, with patients to medical transport. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting, and it does go without saying, though, that if you paid into the system, it's not a freebie, and unfortunately, it's always classified. Well, we paid more, and then you're taking it out, and you're taking it away from us. It's called society, and someday maybe one of your loved ones, might be in need, and thank God that there are systems like that in place, Shannon, to help those loved ones.
I believe you. I absolutely believe you. It's a shame, and this is just coming from someone we know. This stuff is happening to a lot of different people we don't know, and strangers, and something needs to be done.
No. And I'm really hoping if folks, and as we wrap up, thank you so much for calling in. As always, we appreciate everybody calling in and sharing their stories. And hopefully what we can do going forward is create awareness. And folks, if you go on websites, if you go on your local websites and contact not only the department heads from these transportation companies, but perhaps those in local government that might have something that they can do. There needs to be an awareness of this, because this is a necessary transportation for those in need, and this is where we can't turn our back on people like this. This is something, to me, Shannon, that's as humane as any part of our life.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. And we might be in that position someday where we need to take advantage of this system.
Well, someday all of us are going to need help, and all of us are going to, fail physically. And at some point in our life, some stranger that we don't know is going to be called upon, perhaps to save our life. Mm-hmm. And those folks, you're depending on them at that particular time to do their job. When your time of need comes, when you're sitting there, fighting for your life perhaps, and some stranger that's never met you before, that doesn't know how many children you have or where you might have worked, does their best to save your life, that's important. And then I think it should be just as important for everybody, especially when it comes to caring for others. If you signed up for that job, do your job. And that's really the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story, Shannon. And as it is, that's the end of the hour for us. As always, we thank each and every one of you for joining us here on Up for Discussion Live, watching not only on the mothership, PararockTV.com, but also on LA TV. Shannon, I'm still so fired up. I can hardly get the words out of my mouth because I don't want to go.
It's all right. Just breathe. It's almost over. Like 2 more seconds.
All right. Take care of each other, folks, and make each other aware of what's going on. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
I must admit you got your claws in me.